Hello friends, welcome to another 3-minute Game Pass. I'm Nathan, and today I'm going to test this Game Pass games worth your time and bandwidth. Today's game is Octopath Traveler. Just when the pixel art aesthetic was getting stale, Square Enix juiced it up with its own retro RPG heritage, Octopath Traveler. Is this maybe the worst named game since the Kingdom Hearts spin-offs? Yes, but let's find out if it's good. Octopath Traveler is an Xbox and PC cross-release that features cross-save and cross-chivos. It isn't upgraded for anything, but it does run at 60 FPS, and the game time is about 60 hours. So what exactly is Octopath Traveler? Well, it's a turn-based RPG with nods to almost all of the last 3 generations of JRPG development. You have turn-based battles from Dragon Quest and the original Final Fantasies. You have a boost system similar to Bravely Default. You have a class and multi-class system like Tactics Ogre or Final Fantasy V. And you have a completely open story where you can start as any character and see the story in different order like the Saga Frontier games. It has weakness-based combat similar to the Shin Megami Tenshin games such as the Persona ones. It also has building a perfect party of weakness exploitation just like Pokemon. That paired with a retro aesthetic that looks right out of Final Fantasy VI, just juiced up in some 3D. Wow, that really was a lot of me flexing all the JRPGs I've played over my life. Let's move on. The core game of Octopath Traveler is turn-based combat, which as mentioned is based around breaking enemy armor by hitting them with their weaknesses. Once you break their armor, they lose their next turn as well as any big attacks they've charged, and then after that take bonus damage. So knowing which enemies to break when is crucial to success. This also pairs well with the characters and class system. Each of the 8 characters has different sets of skills in their job, as well as weapons they can equip. In the latter half of the game, you can multi-class your characters, adding to the equipment that they can use. This means that you'll be spending a good amount of time figuring out how to optimize your party so you can exploit as many weaknesses as quickly as possible. Additionally, each turn a character earns a battle point where you can cash them out with any move that you do, which can result in either multi-hit strikes or a chunky magic skill. Outside of battle, each character has unique interactions with the world, though in reality there's only 4 and they're split into good and bad. For example, a good one might be to offer to buy an item off an NPC, while a bad one would be to just steal it. Whomever you start with to be your first Octopath Traveler, you'll be essentially circling the map, picking up the rest of your homies, and then progress into each character's next chapter in their story at your convenience. The game scales based on how many party members you found, so it stays relatively challenging. Eventually, a final boss shows up and you kill it. What do I like about Octopath Traveler? Well, I mean, it looks great. It looks like Final Fantasy VI got a spicy makeover, and I really love the music, so aesthetically, great. I really also enjoyed the combat system. I found it to be a right amount of challenge mixed with strategy, especially the bosses. The bosses were standout in that you have to kind of reevaluate how you're playing the game in order to exploit their weaknesses and defeat them. And lastly, figuring out how to multi-class and min-max my team was really addicting for an old school JRPG like myself, and this game offers customization like that in spades. When it comes to the bad, this game is really inconsistent with its difficulty scaling. It leads to some areas being a massive waste of time and too easy, and others being too hard, and this is exacerbated by the fact that this game's encounter rate is way too high. Your party also never really interacts amongst itself. There are a few small vignettes where they'll talk, but one character won't affect another's story. It makes you wonder why there are so many unique characters if they can't affect each other at all in their stories. And lastly, the game becomes an absolute slog of a grind during its latter half. You'll be fighting tons of battles trying to grind up your job points, your levels, your cash, and so on. Considering the effort even a basic random battle takes, the reward should have been maybe doubled from what it actually gives you. This grind really slows the game to a crawl. Judging all right games here on a 3-point scale, must play, maybe consider, don't bother. Octopath Traveler is definitely a maybe consider. It gets the fundamentals right. It has a genuinely great battle and job system, but it's marred by things that have been plaguing JRPGs for years. Lack of character interaction and the eventual grind. I'll be 100% honest and say I have started this game 3 times now and I've never beaten it all the way because the grind in the latter half gets so unbearable I just can't slog through it, which is really a shame because I genuinely love parts of this game. It just cut corners in the one part it shouldn't have, making the game great but very frustrating. That's all I have for you today. Thank you so much for watching, and go out there and enjoy Octopath Traveler.